My name is Marie Ouellet, and I'm an assistant professor in the Department of Criminal Justice and Criminology at Georgia State University. My research uses social network methods as a tool to understand criminal group emergence and evolution, and I'm really interested in understanding why most groups fail and a subset of groups survive over time, and how this influences the type of criminal activities they get involved in. And cybercrime presents a really great opportunity for pursuing these research questions. We often think about cyber offenders as a prototypical lone wolf, sitting alone behind their computer. But I think when we do a lot of research, we find that they're actually embedded in these really tight, cohesive networks, whether this is to other individuals online or social relationships that they have offline to individuals who might even introduce them to this offending type online. And so what my research argues is that it's these social connections that enable or constrain their criminal activities online. One of the projects that I'm working on right now is surveying offenders who are active on the darknet, and we want to find out how they sell products online, the types of products they sell, and the profits that they make. And so as part of this project, we've been interviewing offenders to find out how their criminal experience influences their criminal achievement. So we've been asking offenders about their criminal histories, as well as when they first started offending, the dates and times, and whether they started offending offline before they transitioned to an online environment. And what this is allowing us to look at is understand how their criminal experience influences how they manage their day-to-day operations, and it's also allowing us to understand, are we dealing with a new pool of offenders who've kind of just used cyber markets as a way of introducing them to offending? Are we dealing with a pool of offenders who are kind of started in offline markets and then transitioned into online offending? I collect data through both traditional and non-traditional data collection techniques. So like I mentioned, we're doing surveys of cyber offenders where we go on online markets and we circulate it to different cyber markets. And I also use non-traditional techniques. So I'm working with a computer scientist in the Department of Computer Science, and we're using computational social science techniques such as web crawling, to get information about vendors on markets and forums. My research focuses on network methods, and what this really allows us to do is test a lot of assumptions that we have about cyber criminals and how they structure their operations. So we often assume that organized crime groups or drug trafficking organizations or terrorist groups are very hierarchically organized or decentralized. Network methods allow us to directly test these assumptions and map out the set of connections between offenders, how information flows across members, who directs information, and so we can actually observe how people are managing their day-to-day operations. And network methods also allow us to ask questions we might not have originally thought of, or allow us to get at these kind of counterintuitive answers. So rather than just looking at first-order connections, so looking at who the people are that are surrounding these cyber offenders, we can also look at second-order or third-order connections. So they're friends of their friends and how this impacts their own behavior. And I think this is really important for cyber markets, because what we find is that individuals are kind of embedded in this closed ecosystem. And when we can start to understand how people are connected throughout this broader structure, we can start to understand how an offender who's active in one market actually has what he does or what he sells can actually have an impact on the operations of somebody else who's not even connected directly to them. And I think this is a really fascinating area of research.